Hello, hi. It's me, Alexis Olson. You can call me the Spiritual Fitness Queen. I'm coming to you live from Missoula, Montana. What is up? Happy Sunday. If you are on here with us live, I'm so glad you're here. Please comment below #live. And if you're watching the replay, please comment below #replay. It's been a few days since I've done a live and I just moved into my new place. Let me know how the connection is. I think I have the Wi-Fi on. Sometimes I have to turn the Wi-Fi off, even at my old place, but so let me know in the comments if you can hear me okay. I'm really excited to talk to you. So as y'all have noticed, I was moving. So I just moved from a 1-bedroom apartment to a 2-bedroom apartment. And I'm not going to show you yet because I know everyone's been asking for like a house tour, but it's not ready. Like everything's in boxes and stuff still. So it will be coming. I get kind of I don't use overwhelmed. Like that's not a word I use in my vocabulary. I don't really want to say anxious, but like, I don't know, fixated maybe on like how to make a room look cute. And if you just side story or a little background information on me is I grew up in a family of artists and a family of like interior designers, and we were always always like remodeling our house that we lived in, or we were remodeling someone else's house or working on some kind of project. But I just get like, I think it's like a perfectionism thing. I think what it is. So I just need to pull the trigger and like check out on some of these shopping carts I have online. But if you have any inspiration, like this isn't where I'm going to be living forever. I didn't buy this place, but please send it my way. I would appreciate it. So anyway, let's get into the video. If you're excited to be here, comment below excited. If you're excited to hear about what you should be eating to be in a fat loss state, then comment below a heart emoji or your favorite emoji below. So a lot of times I'll do live videos on questions I get asked the most of, and this is one of them. So if you don't know who I am, I'm a certified personal trainer, nutrition coach, and healthpreneur. So I'm a full-time entrepreneur. This is what I do full-time. I make content. I help people start their transformation, dial in their results, whatever it is. And so one of the things that I've been hearing a lot of with some new people I've been onboarding into my community is what should I be eating? And so I actually made this document of, I think it's 7 tips, my 7 best tips to be in a fat loss state. And it's so contrary to what diet culture teaches us. And if you don't know what diet culture teaches us, you will know, because I'm about to tell you, and you see it all the time, so you'll recognize this. But diet culture tells us to eat less, exercise more, cut out certain food groups, go on a diet, go on some kind of cleanse, really shame your way into like buying these quick fixes that aren't the solution. So I do help people get introduced to a technology that I found really helpful for my life, and you guys have seen me talk about that technology often. But what I preach more, or in addition to that, I really like that because what that does is it helps people get started. It helps people give them that kickstart and that better mood and that better energy to want to make the healthy lifestyle changes necessary, where otherwise it might feel really hard or like, trudging through mud. But the whole goal is to make these small lifestyle changes. So I made this document. It's 7 of my best tips as a personal trainer, what I tell all my clients and what my philosophy is based on, which is anti-diet culture. You might get results a little bit slower, but the whole goal is to be able to sustain those results and not have this whole thing of like losing weight. If that's your goal, take over your entire life, right? So the goal is, for me, is I'm not a competitor. I'm not a extreme athlete or anything of that sort. I'm just a regular person who was on a health and fitness journey for a very long time, and I struggled with losing weight so long. And obesity runs in my family, so does diabetes and other different kinds of conditions. And so very early on, as a teenager actually, I got really into health and fitness because it really mattered to me that I was able to stay healthy and break that cycle. And that runs in my family. And so I took it upon myself to educate myself, and some of my motives in the beginning weren't healthy. And I struggled with a lot of different things over the years when it came to my relationship with food. And, it was up and down all of the time. And then I found myself in a place where I gained a lot of weight and I couldn't figure out how to lose it. And so I was kind of forced to ditch all of the bullshit or all of the quick fixes because I was tired of doing those things, even though they work. Like, they wouldn't be selling so well if they didn't work, right? Like, those things work. But the thing is what I found with myself is I didn't have the confidence to continue on in my everyday life. Like, I didn't know what to do. I thought I did because we're overexposed to so much information, but I couldn't cut through the fat and cut through the bullshit and really figure out the truth. And so what I had to figure out for myself is I hired a trainer to help hold my hand in unlearning diet culture and learning what was going to create sustainable results for me. So I created that document of my 7 best tips and my philosophy based on all of that experience and how I've kept almost 40 pounds off the last 2 years, lost and kept it off. And so one thing I didn't include in that document, I was kind of vague on what to eat. And so that's what this video is for. And I'll probably upload it or I'll probably link this video to that document. If you want that free document of those 7 tips, just comment below free. I'd be happy to add you to my free community and get you that information. It's a game changer. It's all the things that people aren't talking about enough, that are very simple, that again, aren't going to be take over your entire life. It's designed for the everyday person like me who was very, very busy when I started my journey, how to do little things, how to sneak in little things that are going to work for you. And so comment below free if you'd like that document. But I want to get into what you should be eating for a fat loss state. So my biggest thing is, if you ever hear anyone tell you to cut out an entire food group, or to never eat cookies, or to never, have chips, I would turn around and run. And I'm talking about the everyday healthy, able person, right? I'm not a doctor by any means, but speaking generally. And I say this because, one, that's never worked for me, but also you don't necessarily have to do that at all. And that's not really sustainable for most people. And so what you should be eating. So ideally, we know what we should be eating, but most people, when they start their health and fitness journey, they severely overeat or undereat. And a majority of the time, people aren't eating enough to be in a fat loss state. So what my biggest suggestion, I'll keep this really simple. Here's the meat and potatoes that you've been waiting for of this call. So my biggest tip is to shop on the outsides of the grocery store first. Have you ever heard that? So if you think about what's on the outside of the grocery store. Hey, Nicole, what's up? Sorry, I don't have my glasses on, so if someone comments, I have to lean really close in. And please share this video while you're tuning in. I would really appreciate it. Facebook doesn't show my content to barely anybody anymore, unless it's a picture of me half naked. That's Facebook for you. So if you would share this video out of these helpful tips, I would really appreciate it. And yeah, so if you think about what's on the outside of the grocery stores, produce. It's all mostly produce. There's not any really packaged or boxed foods on the outside. So when it comes to produce, you really can't mess it up. My best advice is to shop local. You don't have to necessarily shop. Thanks, Nicole, for sharing. Thanks, Nicole Vega, for sharing. Appreciate it. You don't necessarily have to shop organic. So I've done a lot of research as a college student on genetically modified organisms, and we're not going to get into that. But one of the biggest things about not eating GMOs that people struggle with is, that eating organic is more expensive. And I'm not going to argue with that, because we have a health food store here that even their head of broccoli is, I don't know how much it costs, but it's ridiculously more expensive than at Albertsons. So my hack for you is that if you shop, there's a local produce section, and it's not certified organic, but it doesn't mean it's not organic. And the reason this is because smaller local farms that are close to your town or your city, wherever you live, most of them can't afford to go through to get certified, USDA certified organic. Most of them can't afford it, so they don't do it. It just doesn't make sense as, from a business standpoint. But, there's so many things and hoops to go through to get certified organic, but it doesn't mean that they're using pesticides or other like unethical, unethical, that's kind of up to your judgment, but it doesn't mean that they're not growing in like a sustainable, healthy way. Does this make sense? So if it makes sense, comment below sense. So shopping local. So how do you know that there's not pesticides on it? Well, if your produce is local, it doesn't have to travel as far on trucks to get to the grocery store. So you can rest assured that they're probably not putting a bunch of wax on their apples or whatever they do to preserve food. So shop local. It's cheaper. The produce is cheaper than organic, but it's still most of the time organic. So that's my first tip. Shop on the outsides. And what I would do is I would get a grocery list together, and my boyfriend and I did this before we went grocery shopping today. And I always section out my grocery list of carbs, protein, fats, spices, snacks, dairy. Does that make sense? Things like that. And so keeping it really simple, and this is only 80%, so if this sounds too boring or too clean or too strict, don't worry, because there's going to be some fun stuff in here. This is how I eat. This is what works for me. This is what works for my clients. So when it comes to carbohydrates, you don't have to avoid potatoes. I talk to people all the time that are like, I love bread. And I'm like, great, eat bread. I love bread too. But what that doesn't mean is we're not only going to be eating bread all day, right? But if you have like an English muffin for breakfast, or you have a couple pieces of toast for breakfast, or you have a sandwich on I like Dave's Killer bread. I don't know what kind of bread you guys eat, but I like Dave's Killer bread. I get the thin slice because it's less calories and I can have more protein packed, and it's not like an all bread sandwich, you know what I mean? I also really love rye bread. Rye bread is easier on the digestive system, and sprouted bread is really great as well. And so that's your bread. Potatoes, sweet potatoes or white potatoes, and then rice, white rice or brown rice. I like white rice. White rice actually has less calories, I believe. I'm pretty sure I looked that up, or less carbohydrates than brown rice. But eat whatever you prefer. If you love brown rice and you don't like white rice, eat brown rice. With potatoes and stuff, it's so funny though, because for so long, do y'all remember when like sweet potatoes and yams, the orange ones, well, sweet potatoes aren't orange, but do you remember when yams were like a huge thing, and they started making sweet potato fries and stuff instead of regular fries, and people were eating it thinking it was better than white potatoes. And actually, it's like on a nutritional level, there are more vitamins and minerals in yams, but there's also more calories. So you can eat white potatoes, is fine. So what other forms of carbohydrates? I think I pretty much covered it. Bread, grab some bread, rice, potatoes. I might be forgetting something. Starchy vegetables. So that's going to be like your squashes, like butternut squash, corn. I don't eat a lot of corn. Corn is all corn crops are genetically modified these days. Like I don't think organic corn even exists anymore. Not that I'm a huge stickler on organic. I used to be, but yeah, I'm not super strict on it. So the carbohydrates, and then for vegetables, I always tell my clients to pick a dark leafy green and a very colorful vegetable. This is what my trainer taught me. So I do, for leafy greens, that could be kale. If you don't like kale, then cook it in some bacon grease, or like, that doesn't sound very healthy, but a little bit of that's not going to hurt you. It's okay. I'm sure that you've eaten a lot worse things. Massaging the kale, I don't know if you've ever massaged it, but it really helps with the texture. I usually will steam it, but you can massage it with lemon juice and olive oil, salt and pepper. Amazing. Put some toasted, what kind of seeds is it? Is it sesame seeds? What are the really expensive seeds? Oh, I can't think of it right now. It's not sunflower seeds. Anyway, yeah, so also like broccoli, right? Those are dark leafy greens, examples of dark leafy greens. And then colorful veggies is something like, you know, carrots, bell peppers, I would say, are the most colorful, like getting a variety of those. Cucumbers are really great, super hydrating, especially during going into these summer months. We need to make sure we're staying hydrated. That you're going to get your fiber from your vegetables, which really helps with your digestion. Get some fruits, what's in season. It's always best to eat seasonal if you can. And if you don't know what is in season right now, just Google what is in season. Google is your best friend. That's how I figure out all of these things for the most part. So yeah, I've been really liking strawberries. I always grab a bag of mixed frozen vegetables and I put it in my freezer, mixed frozen fruits, and I use that for smoothies. I always like to have protein powder. We've been having a lot of, what is it called? Amazing Grass is the kind of protein we've been having. It's vegan. It doesn't taste the best. We get the peanut butter chocolate one, but if you put some fruit in it and some almond milk and like half a banana, it's delicious. So there's a lot of that particular protein powder. There's a lot of like phytonutrients in there as well as superfoods in there. So you're going to get your fiber. There's chia seeds, flax seeds, a lot of really good stuff, lots of superfoods. So, and then for protein, leaner protein is going to be better for you because you can save that fat, for, you know, fat like from nature or plant-based fat, which is going to be like your avocados, your chia seeds, your fats, your flax seeds, oils like olive oil and vinegar. Peanut butter is not the healthiest, but like who doesn't like peanut butter? Yeah. And so for lean protein examples, this would be something like, I don't like to eat a lot of red meat. It's not the best on my stomach. I think most people feel that way as well. But I will do ground beef sometimes, lean ground turkey, 99 lean. You can put some taco seasoning into that and just make a little rice bowl with taco seasoned turkey, chicken tenders, and we're making chicken tenders tonight. Fish is really good for you. Salmon, trout, we eat tuna a lot, tuna sandwiches. Like we eat pretty like what you would think. Like, I don't know, it's not anything crazy, nothing extreme, that's for sure. And we do a lot of veggie bakes. I always share about that. So like broccoli, cauliflower, asparagus, carrots, chop it all up, throw it in the oven, onions. And then, yeah, that's the bulk of it. We eat eggs a lot, bacon a lot for breakfast, and what else do we have? So yeah, almond milk, dairy. So we just bought some goat cheese, feta cheese. We don't have a lot of other kinds of cheese. Sometimes we do, like if we're making an English McMuffin for breakfast, we'll put like some Swiss or I don't know, Monterey Jack cheddar on there. And what else? Do you guys have any questions? So Nicole says, is there any fruits or vegetables that will help clear up my skin and reduce the dark circles under my eyes? Well, I would want to ask more, Nicole, if you're still on here, like what else is going on. So do you have any known food allergies? How is your sleep? What is your water intake like? I would definitely start juicing. I have like a $45 or $50 juicer I bought from Walmart that's lasted me over a year, and it's really easy to put together, really easy to clean up. But I would definitely start eating more fruits and vegetables. I'm obviously not a skin expert, but I have been to a dermatologist recently. Just started using. What do you mean? Oh, just started juicing. I was like, what did you start using? So that's really great. But yeah, if you could give me some more information, and if anyone has any personalized questions, I would be happy to answer them right now. I think I pretty much covered everything that I would get at the grocery store, except the 20% of foods. So, hey, Sherry, thanks for being on here. If you have any nutrition questions or what you should be eating to be in a fat loss state, basically it's whatever you want to be eating. It's just about the amounts you're eating. Of course, I am always going to suggest 80% whole foods, as we covered in the beginning of the video. And then 20% is going to be like, okay, Nicole says she'll inbox me, sweet. So I'll go more into that generally, but about skin and how your diet can affect your skin, because I've had lots of skin issues, so I could probably make a video about that alone. My skin looks really great right now, but it's actually not. I think it's just the ring light and my foundation that I'm wearing. So that's something I'm working on. But hey, Mary, thanks for being on here. If you have questions about what you should eat to be in a fat loss state, please let me know. So the 20% foods is going to be like, we do like chewy protein bars. Obviously those aren't like super, but the macros are good on it. And so there's protein. It's like higher in protein. I think it's only 14 grams of protein, but it's better than most bars. We buy Skinny Cow ice cream sometimes. We keep that in the fridge, or there's like these 100 calorie fudge bars that we keep in the freezer. We also, like, what are some other fun foods? Sometimes we buy salt and vinegar chips. Not often, but we'll throw those on our sandwiches. And sometimes we'll buy some dark chocolate and keep that in the freezer and have like a little square, sometimes 2 squares. What else? 20% of food. I would say that's like pretty much it. And then like going out to eat, I would count that as like 20% of fun foods, or not in the, you know, like whole food type of deal, because you're not really sure how they're preparing it 100%. You can't always be certain. But yeah, that, I hope that helps, because I've had a lot of people ask me, what should I be eating? A lot of people that are drinking PTKs and stuff, they're wanting to lose weight, and you know, PTKs mixed with a lifestyle change, mixed with drinking enough water, mixed with prioritizing sleep, mixed with prioritizing your overall steps and movement, eventually like will lead to a fat loss experience. Let's see. So Nicole says, I think the hard part about dieting is feeling like you are restricted from so much and starving all the time. That is diet culture. That is not what it should feel like. It doesn't have to be like that at all. That is not, and I don't like the word dieting either. I never use that word. Like it has the word die in it. So obviously like our diet is, when we're I don't like dieting. Our diet is just foods we're consuming, and that can be very different from person to person. But since I've lost 40 pounds, I've never been hungry. I've never, not one time, felt restricted. And I've never felt like that at all. At all. And so here's the thing, is our metabolism is a very fickle thing. It's very adaptive at the same time. Everyone's metabolism is so unique and so different, but it can change. And you probably know that, and you hear, you know, studies of it changing as we get older. Well, my whole philosophy as a trainer is thinking about it from a biological perspective, is that we have genes, right? We're made up of different genes, and our genes tell us whether to hold on to weight. Our genes tell us, or our genes determine how well we see, all of these different things, how well our heart works. We can also turn genes on and off. And so through certain means, not what you hear from diet culture, but through certain practical, realistic, sustainable means, we can turn certain genes on. Genes that tell our metabolism to work for us and not against us, to be in a fat burning state, to give us energy and keep us awake throughout the whole day. And we can do these things through small little tweaks. And that's what I explained in the document that I created, that free document. So if you want that document, comment below, free. It tells you all of these different things. Step goal, how frequency of working out, why you should start slow, focusing on overall steps over the 1 hour in the gym. All of these things that are so counterintuitive to what we've been taught that keep us stuck. You do not need to feel like you're starving. And I could talk about this forever, but for the metabolism to actually work for us, we need to be eating enough. And there's so many ways to be in a calorie deficit. And my whole goal, because we know we have to eat less and burn more. That doesn't mean you need to eat less than you're currently eating, because you might not be eating enough, and you probably aren't eating enough protein. Protein is the most thermogenic macronutrient out of carbs, protein, and fat. Protein. So this doesn't mean you have to eat 5 protein shakes a day, but you should be having 5 servings of protein a day. 100%. This could be eggs, everything I listed in the beginning, lean meats, protein. So if you're prioritizing protein, you're getting the 5 servings of protein, and you can look up like what a serving looks like for each kind of protein, like whether it's tuna or, protein shake, whatever. And 5 servings of fiber. And so that's going to be your vegetables. Fiber comes from other things too, but mostly fiber from plants. And doing that, and then making sure you're drinking enough water. You're not going to feel hungry. Making sure you're having enough carbs, because we do need carbs for energy. Yes, you can do the ketogenic diet. I don't suggest it. Everyone thinks I'm keto. I've never been keto. I was for 7 days, and it was awful. But yeah, feel free to inbox me. I would love to talk about that further with you, because it should not feel like that. And if it does, it's not going to last. And you're going to damage your metabolism, and your metabolism is you're going to have to keep eating less and less and less to maintain your results or continue losing. So I hope this was helpful and informative. If you are curious I'm doing a 10-day challenge right now. If you're curious, I don't like the word challenge, but that's what it's called. For me, it's just, getting back to eating on the outside of the grocery stores, not going out to eat, hitting my step goal, and, drinking PTKs twice a day. And so it's really simple. You'll get access to that free document. You can get access to it even if you don't want to do the challenge, but please reach out to me. I'd love to help you this month. I personally respond to every message that I get, and I'm going to go back to organizing my bedroom because it is a hot mess. So have a beautiful Sunday. Thank you so much for being here, and I appreciate your time, and I hope you learned something helpful. And remember, attitude, this is on my document as well. I hinted at a lot of things that are in this free document, but one of my tips in there is your attitude is going to determine everything. And I know it's so cliche, but you cannot shame, will, guilt, or punish your way to the body that you want. No way. You can, but you won't be able to stay there for long, and you won't be happy when you get there. And I'm just telling you, it doesn't have to be that way. Nothing that I've achieved is because I was so disciplined or had so much willpower or so much motivation. It was because I took it easy on myself. I did what I could every day. Some days I wasn't perfect. Some days I had blizzards from Dairy Queen or burgers and fries. But none of the energy around those days was of shame or guilt. I fully was present and indulged and let myself indulge when I did. And I think that factor of that attitude and that approach is what made this time of me trying to lose weight so much different than any other time. Is that I really loved myself from the beginning of the journey. And I kept in mind not only what I wanted to achieve with my body, but I kept in mind how I wanted to feel in the process of achieving all of this. And the things that I wrote down was that I wanted it to be easy, and it has been. Fear has popped up, but I dealt with it when it did. And and also I wanted to feel light. My motivation for doing this wasn't just because I thought people would like me more, or I don't know. It wasn't because I thought I would be worth it or that I'd be happier. I wanted to be able to be more present with my friends and family and not be so concerned with like how much space I was taking up or how I looked in photos. I wanted to be able to use fashion and like the clothes that I put on my body as a way to like feel good and express myself. And it's been like that the whole time, but it's because I decided and I was very specific on how I wanted it to be. And that's what happened. And yeah, it's like the right people and the right resources showed up as soon as I decided and was very specific on how I wanted it to feel. So much you hear about what you need to do and what it takes to get there, but no one's talking about how you get to feel in the process. Like no one really talks about that. And so I think that's a really important step to take. If you haven't done it yet, it's never too late to decide how you want it to unfold. Of course, also be very specific on how it's going to feel when you get there, but think about every little milestone and how it's going to feel in between those milestones. And just remember that you can be happy now before you get it. So I love you so much. Thanks for watching. I'll talk to you soon.